It is billed as the most wonderful time of the year, and for a lot of people, that is true of the holidays, but there's a whole population of people that the exact opposite rings true. Grief is something that hits us all at one point or another. In fact, 40% of people reporting avoiding holiday celebrations because of loss. And if that is you, we do want to help you out this morning. So we're joined by the president and CEO of Well Powered, James Greer. James, good morning.
Good morning, Jordan.
Thank you for coming in with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
I think it's going to be a very helpful conversation. Sadly, you know the struggles of grief all too well. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yes, so in 2023, the weekend of Thanksgiving, my oldest son, Taiji, passed away. And then 4 months later, we lost my father-in-law to his battle with cancer. So that profoundly impacted me and my family, and it's been a tough couple of years navigating grief.
I'm very sorry for your loss. I wanted to ask because there's a lot of people who are also struggling with grief. What is it about the holidays that seems to make grief just so much worse?
Well, the holidays make it so much worse because everything is amplified. Grief is out of sync with the season, and so those two things do not reconcile, and there's a pressure to be happy, there's a pressure to go to gatherings, there's a pressure to celebrate, and again, those two things don't reconcile when you're going through grief.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, that this is a pretty common struggle. Just how common is it?
You mentioned earlier about 40% of people avoid gatherings because due to loss or sadness, but the data also shows us that 42% of people experience increased depression and sadness as well during this time.
We know that grief can be so heavy that oftentimes it is pretty easy to recognize, but there's a lot of times too that maybe somebody doesn't actually understand that they're experiencing grief. What are some of the signs that maybe somebody is going through grief?
Well, intensified emotions could be one, having trouble sleeping at night, being irritable, and just having a high level of anxiety are signs and symptoms that people may be going through grief.
And again, you have your own story with this. What is some of the practical advice that helped you and that you would recommend to anybody else out there who is struggling with this right now?
Well, the way that I like to remember this and the practical advice is something I called CAPS. The C stands for create a space for remembrance, so you can remember the person, tell stories about their life. The A is adjust. Just adjust your expectations around the holidays. You don't have to say yes to everything. The P is for permission. Give yourself permission to say no. Yes. Don't go to that celebration. Don't go to that event that you were invited to. And the S is for stick to routines. Routines for your eating habits, routines for sleeping, get some movement, some exercise. Those are the best ways to make sure you navigate grief.
What about from the opposite side? Maybe somebody who's not experiencing grief but has somebody in their life who is. Do you have any advice for how we can help them out?
You know, grief doesn't discriminate. Grief does not have a timeline, and we at Well Power offer resources that could help folks out. So you can go to our website at wellpower.org and see all the resources that we have to be able to help.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because I wanted to know at what point should someone consider seeking professional support? At what point is it beyond the own practical management that you can do for yourself?
When folks start feeling like the grief is unbearable and it starts to interfere with your daily life as it did with me, that's when I think people should go out and get some assistance and get the help that they need.
Well, James, we appreciate the vulnerability and you sharing this morning. And again, we're so sorry for your loss.
Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate it.
Thank you for making the time for this important conversation. And if you are someone who is struggling, there is always help available. Colorado Crisis Services has counselors available 24/7 if you need someone to talk to. That number is there on your screen right now. And you can also reach the National Suicide and Crisis Line by dialing 988.